So we move on, and I hope that as we're going through, you're writing a few details so that you don't have to remember all of these things because it's already in your notes. So, Ishtar, the goddess of love, but not only the fertility goddess, she was also the guardian of nature. Yeah, the goddess of nature, the goddess of love rolled into one.
I think she was a goddess of nature.
I'll tell you why later on. Why is that? Yeah.
Yeah, she was a goddess of storms and war.
War as well, yeah. So that's right. But it's a good point from you because I never thought it that way before. I always regarded her as goddess of love and sometimes goddess of war. And as I keep studying the whole poem and studying Ishtar, I discovered that there's another thing that goes with it, yeah, and that's being into nature, yeah, but not the nature, the paradise nature that we think of, the untouched nature. So Ishtar watched this parade, yeah, and people were celebrating Gilgamesh and Enkidu basking in glory. And when all the people dispersed around, Ishtar, yeah, while watching everything, appeared before Gilgamesh. Yeah, and Enkidu said, Gilgamesh, yeah, I can see that you are famous now. And basically, Ishtar flirted with Gilgamesh and wanted Gilgamesh to be her husband. And of course, not only that, um, Ishtar kind of tried to bribe Gilgamesh, essentially saying, if you are my husband, and this and that, we'll enjoy so much of our lives, and I'll give you whatever you need. I'll give you a chariot made of gold with copper as its axle, and all the riches in the world, yeah, would be given. And how did Gilgamesh react to this?
Oh, I remember
Mhm.
okay, so he just says like no thanks
And why?
because he doesn't want to sleep with her. I think.
But Ishtar is so beautiful.
Well, he just doesn't feel
According
like
to them, I don't, I saw some of the sculpture that she doesn't look beautiful at all. Yeah, but that's basically the sculpture couldn't do. Maybe the person who sculpted her was terrible. Anyway, why did Gilgamesh reject this goddess of love, the goddess of war?
Because she had previous husbands, she'd done something really bad to
Yes.
had wanted to.
So the previous lovers of Ishtar suffered quite a lot. Yeah, Ishtar kind of just played around with them, and so this goes to show that this poem is much more connected to other things, other other stories, which wasn't featured in the Gilgamesh story. So essentially, Gilgamesh then said, "Why would I want to be with you? I remember you. I heard stories about you, Ishtar. You about your previous lovers. You played with them around. You left them, and you let them to die, which was true, because Ishtar is a Semitic name of another god of Inanna, which is another name of Ishtar. So there's another story about Ishtar, who is also known as Inanna, and it's about Inanna and Dumuzi. Now, Inanna and Dumuzi is basically a story about nature. What is that sound?
What?
There is that sound happening.
Yeah, that's my sister. I've got on mute.
So basically, the whole story of Ishtar, Inanna and Dumuzi, basically Ishtar and Dumuzi, it's about two lovers. And what happened was that they were natures, and basically the whole thing is Dumuzi was banished into the underworld, and he always comes back during springtime, right? And become really nature, right? So Inanna is kind of in charge of the growing of the spring and of nature, and that's why she is also known as a goddess of nature, because it explains how the season arrives, because his lover comes back to her during springtime. And this is a close version to this in the Greek story of Demeter, the story of Demeter, who is the goddess of nature. So the Ishtar is the equivalent goddess of nature to Demeter. And the story is almost the same. Now, the Ishtar story of Dumuzi, right? It's exactly, kind of exact replica of the story of Demeter, the goddess of nature. And this goes to show in the people who study this different literature that there must have been a sharing of stories in the ancient world. But anyway, that's why I relate her to the goddess of nature, because her story is almost exactly the same plot as the Demeter story, who is really a story about nature. So Demeter being the goddess of nature. Let's move on. So there was this rejection. Ishtar was angry. She was embarrassed. And so Ishtar went back to God Shamash. And said, I've been embarrassed by Gilgamesh. I want to bring down the bull of heaven. And Shamash says, if you bring down the bull of heaven, that means there will be famine in the land. I won't consent to it. And then Ishtar threatened the god, if you don't do that, I will go into the underworld where her lover Dumuzi kind of hidden. I will open the gates, and then the dead will come back to earth and haunt the living. Yes.
That was my favourite line in that play.
What is this play? The
Gilgamesh. We did Gilgamesh.
Ah, you remember that?
Yeah, and I played Ishtar, and that was my favourite line.
Oh, you were Ishtar.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Ah. Sorry that I say that Ishtar was ugly in the sculpture. I'll show you a picture of Ishtar, because I tried to, the previous students that I work with, we went to the museum and we saw a sculpture of Ishtar, and I asked one of them to recreate it. It didn't turn out right. But it really goes to show that those sculptures, they're not easy to do. They look so easy, but even if you're a teenager, start to imitate them, they're not easy. Okay, and that would have been one of the activities that I would have liked to do, to have done with you if we're not in lockdown. Okay, oh dear, it's nearly time. I'm going to rush through now. And so, the bull of heaven came down, and of course, here's another adventure. Gilgamesh and Enkidu fought the bull of heaven, and then killed the bull. And when that happened, essentially, they were cursing at each other, and Ishtar was again embarrassed and ashamed. And Enkidu joined in, and said, stop talking to my friend like that. If you keep talking to my friend Gilgamesh, I'll do this to you. Basically raising the leg of parts of the body of the bull of heaven and throw it to Ishtar. Throw it to Ishtar and said, if you do that to my friend, I'll do this to you, and throw the leg of the bull to Ishtar. And Ishtar was furious. And Ishtar said, because you've done this, one of you will die.